Welcome to the Refs Need Love To podcast, a show that gives you a real, raw, and behind-the-scenes view of one of the hardest jobs on the pitch, the referee. I'm your host, David Gerson, a grassroots referee with 7 years of experience and over 1,000 matches under my belt. You can find me at refsneedlove2.com and on TikTok. In today's episode, we will be talking with Jake Joyce, a college soccer player and a referee, who is on a path that will hopefully take him towards being a professional referee. He has already reffed at regionals and National President's Cup while balancing life as a student and a player in a competitive university program. Listen to how he makes that work. All right, Jake, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you on here today.
I am thrilled to be here, David. I have been looking forward to this for a long time.
Yeah, we actually connected via the TikTok universe. You were one of the early supporters of the channel. Being a referee yourself, you had a lot of insight, but also as a player yourself, you have a lot of insight. So we're so excited to learn a little bit more about you. So just in general, man, how long have you been playing soccer?
I've been playing soccer since I was 4 years old. Now I'm 19 years old. So given that I'm a college student, I should know how to do this math. That'll be 15 years.
Yes, you definitely should. And so you played youth, I'm assuming played academy because of where you're playing now, but you still play. So who do you play for now?
So I play for a Division II school in Daytona Beach, Florida. It's called Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, a very famous flight school. Some call it the Mecca of flight training. And here I am studying communication at this flight school where only about 20, 30 other people study communication here.
Well, as long as that is what you're passionate about, there is no doubt about that. And so you are also, so you've been playing soccer growing up. You're now playing at a collegiate level, a high-level collegiate level in the United States. But you're also a referee. And so how long have you been a referee?
I started refereeing 5 years ago. I think I was a sophomore in high school. And pretty much I've picked up a lot more in the last year or so. It was kind of more do it on a weekend if I have time. And then within the last 9 to 12 months, it's been grinding it out, getting games every weekend, things like that.
And so what was it about being a referee that attracted you to that role?
I don't know. I just always, every time I grew up watching soccer, I always just had an appreciation for the man in the middle. And when I was 10 years old, I asked my parents to buy me a set of red and yellow cards so that I could display it with the referees on TV. Kind of sounds a little stupid, but I mean, that's just what I was into when I was 10. And as well as playing, I always wanted to be a player and always was a player, but kind of always wanted to also show the yellow card. And I remember when I got my first ever yellow card, I think I was 10 or 11, came in from behind on a kid, slide tackled and took him out way after the ball was there. I knew the card was coming. And the whole time the referee comes over to me and he's got the yellow card out. And what I'm seeing is my name on screen, on the TV screen, Jake Joyce, yellow card.
That's fantastic. The best part about that story is you started going into the considerations for the yellow card, right, from behind, tackle was late. Like, I love it. You're starting to go through it. But Jake, being a referee, it's not just recreational for you now. I mean, you have, based on our conversation, I know you've done the recreational level. You started doing a competitive academy, but you've also been now selected to ref at regionals and even national events. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so this summer, I had the opportunity to represent the state of Florida at a few different events. The first one was Southern President's Cup. And then from there, I was selected to represent the South region at the National President's Cup. And then while I was at National President's Cup, the assistant director of referees for US Youth Soccer pulled me aside and he told me, Jake, I want to make you my final selection for youth nationals in my hometown, Orlando. And so it was just kind of a whirlwind um, summer like that. I never knew before January what all these events were, and the steps it would take to get there, and it all happened so fast.
That's amazing. And so, what do you think it is? I get asked all the time by referees. I mean, today I posted a TikTok, and there were people on the pod or the TikTok who were asking about, "Hey, I've been reffing for a few years. I've had a couple high level games, but how do you advance?" What do you think it is that that assistant director of referees for U.S. Youth Soccer? What do you think he saw in you that said, "Okay, he's not just good, he's great, and I need to have him at a national event"?
So people like him are constantly in contact with the state referee administrators or representatives from different states. He and Christina Uncle, my SRA, have a great relationship. So um, they kind of have an idea of um, who is a prospect. And I'm sure we can get into that in more detail later on. But uh, essentially, it was my second game at National President's Cup, and I was doing a U19 boys game. I was in the middle. And one thing I just wanted to focus on was just doing that game like it was any other game. Um, and my job was to facilitate a game for 90 minutes, keep the players safe. And a few things I focused on were my movement, my interactions with players, and my positioning, movement and positioning in different senses. Um, my movement being more picking up the pace when I need to, working on my sprints. We had a few counterattacks in the game where AR2 and I were going back and forth quite a lot. Um, it was actually Armon was my AR2 in that game.
A good buddy of mine. Yep.
And then positioning. The way they differ is my positioning is where I needed to be on the pitch and where the anticipating play, where that ball was going. And he happened to be watching that game. Brian Miller, I think that's his title, is assistant director of referees, and ended up texting me to come find him and told me about the opportunity.
So I have so many questions about this. First, let's go back to the beginning. You said it's a U19 boys game. You yourself are only 19 years old.
That's right.
So talk to me a little bit about this. I mean, you're a 19-year-old young man. You're reffing these 18, could be 19-year-old, depending on the time of the year for the game as well. You know, how do you get yourself into the right mindset? You know, how do you make sure that you've got, control of that match, but also rapport with the players? What do you kind of tell yourself? What are your goals? How do you get yourself ready for something like that?
You said it yourself. A big thing for me is rapport with the players. I've obviously been in a situation similar to them recently, being a competitive soccer player at the age of 19. So I know what they're thinking about, and I know when I'm playing what I want from a referee. So I try to give them that. I try to be the referee that I want to have refereeing my match. And it's even sometimes as simple as just being personable with them, talking with them before the game. In this case, both teams had won the day before, so I congratulated both teams on that. Asked them how they were doing, how their flights were, things. It's just little things like that, building rapport with the players, and just not being casual, but being personable and professional at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And then you also talked about that movement. Now, it's not just movement for movement's sake. What are you trying to do? How are you trying to move around the pitch to be in the best position?
So one thing I try to work on when I'm in the middle is it's not necessarily working on, but I always make sure I'm wearing cleats in the middle, because for me, and this morning it was actually happened to be wet that morning. It was an 8 a.m. game on wet turf. So I made sure I have my cleats on and just focusing on sprints and recovering. We talked about those counterattacks. Sometimes the keeper would send it long, punt it up to midfield, and then I have to get up because there'd be a 2-on-1 happening or a 3v2. So working on that diagonal, and staying close to play, but not in the way.
Hmm. And so you mentioned this national. What is the highest level of competition that you've reffed right now, or the most important match that you have reffed?
Most important match. Um, that's an interesting one. I was selected for a final at youth nationals, but the highest level that I have refereed would be probably either USL 2 or NPSL. Both of those are in the fourth tier of the US soccer pyramid. I've also refereed a Division One college soccer game. Um, so also a great experience. It was on ESPN Plus. So I had family back at home watching, friends. So that
That
was
is
fun.
so cool. And so, I mean, you've made it such a long way now. So, what are your goals as a referee? Where do you see yourself? Say, let's say 3 to 5 years from now.
3 to 5 years from now, I'm hoping to be a national candidate, if not a national referee. Um, at youth nationals, I spent a lot of time chatting with Nima Sagafi, who is a professional referee in the MLS. He's also a FIFA referee. And he joined the MLS at, I want to say 25.
Hmm.
Um, and, if I could do that, that would be incredible, to get there at 25. If I get there at 35, I'd be really happy, but I'm getting there. 3 to 5 years from now, I'm getting up to the national level.
And so, you talked about Anima. We've talked about Christina Uncle, obviously her husband, Ted Uncle. But when you look at them, how do you know that they have it? What do you think there is in being a professional referee? I mean, yes, we know the laws. I mean, I think even at a regional level, the laws inside out at that point. Not that you can't learn something, but there is a difference between going from academy and doing these, fourth tier games that we've had the pleasure to do and being an MLS professional. In your eyes, when you look at them, what do you see as the main differences?
Um, Here in Florida, we have an abundance of these professional referees. We've got 4 active FIFAs right now. We have former FIFA and Christina, plenty of former FIFAs. But even if you follow people like Christina or Ted on Instagram or on any social media, Chris and Tori Penso as well, another solid duo. Um, it's all refereeing. You see them, they're in the gym, they're on the field, they're studying the laws of the game, they're giving back to the community, they're helping, training with other grassroots, regional, national referees. They're doing discussions. It's a total lifestyle, and that's the mindset you need to have when you're a professional referee.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an element of sacrifice to it, but it's so interesting you say about the giving back. It does. You do have to really study hard if you want to teach someone else. It's one
Mhm.
thing to do; it's another thing to like teach and train and be a great mentor. And so
It's
there's a lot
funny
of work to go into that.
It's funny you mentioned that, because actually right now, on another browser on my computer, I'm actually finishing up the grassroots mentor course as well.
That's
Uh,
fantastic.
it's funny you
Someone
mentioned
else
that.
told me about that, and I was like, oh, maybe I should do that.
You definitely
So,
should.
okay, well, I will
Definitely should.
definitely check it out. One thing I did want to ask you about. So you are, in college right now, and I know you're in season.
Mhm.
So how do you balance, being a referee and wanting to be out on the pitch as a referee, but also you are playing college soccer. There is a big time demand on your time. And by the way, you're a student, so you
Yep.
need to be getting grades. How do you balance it all?
We actually have a saying at Embry Riddle. Like our big thing is student, person, player. So obviously the first priority is making sure we're doing well in school, taking care of our classes. After that's being a good person, um, good moral values, uh, being a leader in the community, things like that. Um, and after that is when you can focus on being a collegiate athlete. And for me, those three take priority. obviously I made a commitment to come out here to school. I made a commitment to come out here and play for my team, made a commitment to my coach, my teammates, to myself. And then refereeing has got to come, for me, it's after that, just due to the commitments that I've made, and that I'm not one to back down from a commitment. We were talking a little bit before this. I've only done one game since youth nationals 2 months ago. And it was that Division I college game that I mentioned earlier. And it's all about finding that balance. Yesterday, I went to a field training event for the new requirements of the grassroots for certification, and it just made me think about how much I want to get back on the field. I got an email from one of my assigners during the meeting, and it said that there were some Sunday League games that were rescheduled for next Wednesday, and I was like, I want to do it. So I booked the game, knowing that I didn't have a game that day. So I took the game, and then I went out and looked for a UPSL game and asked the assigner if I could do a UPSL game the weekend after that. So it's definitely about finding the opportunity, but making sure your priorities are where they need to be.
Yeah, and it's not like you're far away from the game. I mean, you're practicing 6-7 days a week. You've got, I know the college schedule is very condensed. It could be 1, 2, maybe even 3 games in a week. So you're around it all the time, just not in the middle with a whistle or on the line with a flag right now.
Right.
Yeah, and then during the summertime or the off season, how many games do you see yourself doing in the off seasons when you're not actually in season as a soccer player?
Quite a bit. I always try to help out my assigner if I need to. Most of my assigners if I need to. My priority is going to be getting those adult games in for the regional referee requirements. But if, let's say, there's a few U10 games that are in need of referees, he's been searching all week and can't find anybody, and I have a couple extra hours, I'll drive up the road 20 minutes and go do those U10 games, help him out. So but in the spring, it'll be a lot. I think my count for 2022 so far, because I really picked it up at the start of January 2022, at like 150-ish.
Yeah.
Right now for this calendar year, probably going to finish with about 200. And next spring, I can't wait to see how many games is going to be, because I think a few more opportunities are going to start opening up.
No, it's fantastic. I'm excited for you. So to kind of close towards the end of the podcast here. So you've been reffing now for 5 years. You're starting to get these really high level assignments. I mean, I can tell you, for those who are listening who don't know, if you're going to nationals, President Cup nationals, that is a big deal. Even just getting to regionals, you're one of the 10 best in your state to get selected to go at the regional level. So it is a really big deal. So for those younger referees, for those people who are, and whether you're old like me, but you're only a couple of years in, or you're 13, 14, 15 years old and you're just starting out, what type of advice do you give to younger referees who are trying to move up? What should they be focused on? What should they be thinking about? How do they improve themselves to get to where you are right now?
There's a few things you want to consider. The first thing is just always being professional in everything you do. Show up early to your games, always honor your game assignments, get your availability into your assigners. And then from the moment you get there to your game, look the part, have your socks up, have your shirt tucked in, talk to your referees, have a pregame before the game. That's these basic things, but we need to get that right. And then always treat people with respect in everything that you do. And then once you nail that down, becoming a referee is going to be much easier. You're going to have an easier experience, gaining experience on the field, and dealing with certain situations. And then once you feel more confident with that, you can reach out to your state referee administrator and see what kind of opportunities you have. Every state's got state cup, president's cup, things like that. And then from there, you can be selected to move on to these regional and eventually national events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so interesting. my advice for people all the time is do take it seriously, have
Yeah.
fun. But man, I can't even begin to tell you how many times I show up if I'm running a line and I'm like, all right, we're going to do a pregame, and they're like, yeah, you'll be fine, and I'm like, oh. Just like, fail to plan to fail type of thing. So I
Yeah.
think that's great advice. I tell people, work hard, have fun, study the laws of the game. It is amazing how much stuff is in there that you can learn, and you never know when you're going to use it. Well, Jake, thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, I'm so excited to see you advance in your career. Well, obviously in communications, again, person and student, of course, very, very important. But then as a referee as well. And it's been such a pleasure getting to know you through the world of TikTok, now getting to know more about your story through this podcast. And I just wish you nothing but the success in everything that you do. And I'll actually be down in Orlando, I think, for a tournament coming up in the next month or so. So I will certainly let you know when I'm there.
Nice. Yeah, same to you. I wish you all the luck and success with TikTok, and I hope I can run into you at this tournament and hopefully regionals again. And yeah, just nothing but the best for you.
Awesome, man. All right, cool. Thanks so much. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and thank you for taking the time to learn about Jake and the challenges of being a youth referee. It is not easy to play competitively and ref as well, but he is making it happen. Hopefully this December, Jake and I will get to crew a game together, as my son and I are heading down to Orlando, Florida for a National League event. I can't wait. If you liked today's pod, please check out my website and merch at refsneedlove2.com. I appreciate your support, and as always, I hope your next game is red card free.